Welcome to Mesoamerica. From the Central America to the southern Mexico up to the border of South America. The three most dominant and advanced civilizations that developed the science and technology in Mesoamerica were the Maya, the Inca, and the Aztec. The Maya civilization.
Between approx of 300 and 900 AD, the Maya were responsible for the number of remarkable scientific achievements. During that time, they developed a complex understanding of astronomy, as well as figure out how to grow corn, bean, squash, and also cassava in some hospitable places. They also built elaborate cities without modern technology, how to communicate using one of the world's first written language system, and how to measure time with two complicated calendar systems.
The Maya made important breakthroughs in astronomy and mathematics. The Mayans would study the sky from observatory, and from this observation, they were able to track the movement of the stars and planets.
The Inca civilization. It is also famous in Mesoamerica. They made advanced scientific ideas considering their limitations as an old civilization.
There were thought to be 10 million people living the intricate Inca Empire. They possessed extensive stone towns, stunning temples, a sophisticated political system, a complex road networks, and a highly developed governance. However, the Inca lacked many of the fundamental technologies that we frequently regard as essential to modern nations. They had no writing system for keeping records, no wheel for transportation, and even no iron for producing tools. How did they build such a sophisticated empire? These are some of the important scientific innovations and technologies used by the Inca Empire. Roads and communications. The Incas constructed a large network of roadways that connected every part of their empire. Typically, stone was used to pave the roads. In steep mountain terrain, stone steps were frequently constructed. Additionally, they constructed bridges where roads had to cross rivers. The main purpose for the roads was for communication, moving army troops, and to transport goods. Commoners were not allowed to travel on the roads. Communication was accomplished by runners on the roads. Fast young men called chasquis would run from one relay station to the next. At each station, they would pass the message on to the next runner. Messages were either passed verbally or by using a quipu. Messages traveled quickly this way at the rate of around 250 miles per day. Quipus. A quipu was a group of knotted strings. In a manner similar to writing, the Inca understood the significance of the quantity, size, and spacing of the knots. Quipus was only used by authorities with specialized training. Stone buildings. The Incas were able to construct buildings out of solid stone. They were able to shape big stones without the aid of iron instruments and fit them together without mortar. The Inca were able to build enormous stone structures that stood the test of time for hundreds of years, despite the frequent earthquakes that Peru experiences, by precisely fitting the stones together with one another and using other architectural techniques. Inca farming. The Incas were master cultivators. They cultivated crops in a variety of environments, from the desert to the highest mountains, using irrigation and water storage methods. The Inca farmers were extremely productive even though they lacked iron tools and beasts of burden. Calendar and astronomy of Inca. In order to grow their crops at the proper time of year, the Inca employed their calendar to note seasonal changes and religious holidays. To make their calendar, they studied the sun and the stars. 12 months made up the Inca calendar. 3 weeks of 10 days each made up each month. The Inca would add 1 or 2 days to put the calendar and the sun back into harmony when they became out of sync.
The Aztec civilization. They have also made substantial contributions to science and technology and to the society as a whole.
In making weapons, the Aztecs mainly relied on the use of stone and copper. This was because they did not have any access to iron or bronze. However, their weapons were quite sophisticated. One of the most innovative Aztec weapons were what we call the macatil, in which it is made of wooden club having a sharp pieces of volcanic glass. This was used to disable the enemy without killing him. The Aztecs faced two crucial disadvantages: the absence of horses and mules. On the land, traveling by foot was a very common way of transportation, and this was very slow. Due to this, the Aztecs did not construct any road, but instead, they developed a very special boat in which what we called a canoes. This made the transportation much easier through the rivers or the streams. Those boats were used throughout the Aztec Empire. The Aztecs made several advancements in the domain of education and science. They were among the first societies who made the education compulsory to all the children. In the field of science, they used herbal as their medicine. In the field of mathematics, they have their own system of numbers in which 20 is the base. Further, they made advancement in the field of astronomy. One of the most remarkable achievements of the Aztecs were the construction of their step pyramid, in which it also served as temple. Another example is the city of Tenochtitlan, in which it is divided into 4 parts, and each parts have different architectural value. Further, they also built a aqueducts in that city in order to fulfill the needs for water.
Aztec technology, calendars, and charts. In the development of calendars, Aztec technology was once again at its finest. The Aztecs made use of 2 calendars, one of which was exclusively reserved for tracking of religious ceremonies and festivals. This calendar was called Sonolfohuali, which means day count, and had 260 days. The other calendar was using for tracking of time and was called Shufohuali, or solar year. This one had 365 days, having 18 months of 20 days each. Both calendars coincided after each 52 years. In the domain of medicine and healthcare, the Aztec technology was no less impressive for their own time. To prevent muscle spasm and relax the muscles, they invented a special kind of antispasmodic medicine using various herbs, which was very effective. In particular, the passion flower was used for this purpose. It also helped for insomnia, epilepsy, and high blood pressure. Aztec also extensively used steam baths and believed that sweating made the poisons leave the body of the sick person. Very innovative Aztec technology was used for farming and agriculture. The most important aspect of Aztec technology for agriculture was the farming method called chinampa, in which the land was divided into rectangular areas and farmed through canals. This was an artificial island built on the swampy ground. Various metal tools and instruments were also made to be used in agriculture and farming.